the buttons. In 3, 2, 1.
Are we live?
Yes.
Yay! Hi, guys.
It would help if you had a microphone in
Oh,
front of
that would probably... You're laying down on the job there, Sunshine. Thank you. Hi, guys. I hope everybody's having a great day. I missed you last week. We're so used to doing lives, and I have not been feeling 100%. My hands have really been bothering me lately, so decided to take a day off, and all I did was miss everybody. So I didn't get a whole lot accomplished. I did do basically nothing. I didn't work. I didn't back orders. I didn't do anything. I just sort of took a day and did stuff around the house, but nothing major. But I really missed painting with you guys. It was just, it's so weird not being down here, like being live for a day. It was just so strange to have a Saturday and not be live. So I'm really glad we're back today. So I was watching, we have a bunch of new names popping up, both on Facebook, that I haven't seen before. That doesn't mean you haven't watched before. It just means that sometimes that chat spins so fast that I don't see it. So I wanted to say hi to a couple of people. Harold and Newell. Hi. Thanks for joining us. And Donna Baker. Yes, I am feeling better. Thank you very much. And Lori Skiffington. I know that you're hot and sticky in Massachusetts, and we're super hot and sticky here. And we're northeast of you. So, it was yesterday? We hit 41 with the Humidex, which was like 104 degrees. It was like, ugh, it was horrible. Hot. 100 what? 104.
104.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
It's nothing. Sure it is. With 97% humidity, it was like, ew. It was like walking into a warm, wet blanket. It was awful. So, yeah. So I don't do heat. I've been hiding in my studio all week because I don't do heat, and it's nice and cool down here. And the dehumidifiers are running, and the AC is running, and yeah, I don't do heat. No, I don't do really cold, and I don't do really hot. So I'm looking forward to fall.
Yes.
Fall is my favorite time of year. So we do have a shout out of the week this week, and it is to a company I just found, actually. It's one of those things. I was searching for a unique surface, and I was also looking for something very specific. I was looking for a nice 10-inch round surface. I didn't want MDF because it's for something outside, and it needs to be a little heftier than MDF, and MDF does weird things especially for exterior projects. So I was looking for something a little bit different, and I lucked into finding this company. And I will say lucked into because a couple of things. One, the surface quality, my first order, surface quality, absolutely gorgeous, sanded to perfection. Literally take it out of the box and paint it. It was beautiful. Beautiful quality. They're a really nice 1/2-inch plywood. They're really done well, and it's a finishing grade plywood, so it's smooth on both sides. It's really, really nice. Perfectly cut, beautifully sanded and prepared, well packaged, well shipped. Shipping costs were flat rate. I was really impressed. And the pricing, very reasonable. So if you're looking for great surfaces and you live here in Canada, first and foremost, Canadian company, it's called blanksupply.ca. We've put the website, the link is in the description. So right underneath it on the YouTube channel, you'll be able to find it. So go and check them out. They've got some really nice, very basic, simple surfaces. I do believe you can get custom stuff cut. They are, their service was fantastic, spot on. Everything came within a reasonable amount of time. $14.99 for shipping. I was so impressed. And a Canadian company. So I was really happy about that. So I wanted to give them a shout out this week at blanksupply.ca. You may even see one of their ads pop up on Facebook. I believe I saw one the other day. And I will tell you, I was very impressed, one, with the service, and two, with the quality of the surfaces that I got. So I was very, very happy. So go and check them out at www.blanksupply.ca. I don't know if they ship to the U.S., but you could always ask. But I was very impressed. I was very impressed. Price point was reasonable, and the quality was really nice. So can't go wrong with that. We do have great giveaways this week. We have 3 of them. We always have great giveaways, though, but we have 3 in particular, and those giveaways are courtesy of Tombow USA, which I absolutely love. You know I'm a big fan of Tombow products. So there's a nice set of the professional drawing pencils in there. Nice 3-pencil set. I believe it's a B, an HB, and a 2B, which is really nice. They're ideal as a great starter pack, and the quality of their drawing materials is fantastic. And there is also a lovely little 3-brush set, watercolor brush set in there. It is a quill, a dagger striper, and a script liner Dynasty water lily, the ones with those pretty coral colored handles. And they're fantastic. I've been using them a lot lately. 3-brush set. Value's about $25, which is really nice. And of course, there's some other goodies in there too. We always put stuff in there. And there's a stencil from the Stencil Studio, which you're going to love. So those are the giveaways for this week. And to get in on those giveaways, all you have to do is participate in the chat, share the link, share the video, or just in general interact with us. Mm-hmm. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do that. Hit the big red subscribe button and turn on your bell notifications so that you know when we go live every Saturday and when we post new video. So pretty simple. Requirements are not all that much of a stretch.
Apparently, Blank Supply does ship to the U.S. and it's a flat rate of $20.
Nice. Very nice. I've been really impressed. I got my box within about 8 days. So from the time I placed the order until it arrived on my doorstep was only about a week, which was really nice. Nice. So, yeah, 8 days is pretty flippin' good, especially in Canada. Post is slow here. So I was really happy. And I'm really happy with the quality of the surface. So it's always a good thing. So today we're going to be painting Falkirk
Well, you
Farms.
have other big news.
I do.
Before you start talking about painting.
What other big news do I have? Oh, yeah. We have a new edition. I don't know if you guys saw the
You gotta talk about thumbs.
Thumbs. I posted on my Facebook page, the Moreau family has expanded by 1.
Yeah.
Yesterday. We've got the sweetest little girl. She is so freaking cute. We got a kitten. She's very pretty. She's just the sweetest little face. She's polydactyl. And we noticed it on her front paws. But last night I noticed that she's also polydactyl on her rear paws.
Oh, yeah.
So she has an extra thumb on her rear paws as well. Or an extra toe, I should say. Mm. But she has 2 extra on each foot on the front. So she's got quite, her little paws look like boxing mitts. She's just, she's so cute. And she's busy. She's busy. Sleeps, and then she's on the move again. Yeah. So, but yeah, she's really cute. Gizmo, on the other hand, is less than impressed.
He wasn't too happy. I think he's more curious, but once he gets used to the scent in the house,
I think
he'll
so,
be fine.
yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of grumbling going on, but I think he'll adapt just fine.
Haven't come up with a name yet.
No, we haven't. We've tossed around a couple. I thought Abby would be cute because she's a little Abby normal.
Polly.
And Polly for polydactyl. Yeah, we had thought of that. I keep calling her Peanut because she's just cute as can be.
Yeah.
But we haven't come up with a name, but we haven't really seen
her
haven't seen her personality yet. So all in good time.
I've called her Thumbs.
Yeah, Thumbs. She is awfully cute though. But she's only about 12 to 13 weeks old. She's still little, so we shall see what her personality develops into. It could be interesting. But she's adorable.
She's a little skittish.
Well,
this is all new to her, and
yeah, well, we took her away from her litter mates and the house that she's been in her whole life.
Yeah.
So skittish is to be expected. So we're going to be painting Falkirk Farms. This is Highland cow. I've had this one sitting on my desk for weeks, if not months. I've had the drawings there, and I've rethought it and resketched and
Thumbelina.
oh my God. Really?
Yeah.
Who said that?
Janina.
Linda Griffith.
Janina.
Linda Griffith did too. Oh, that's funny.
Oh no.
Thumbelina.
Thumbelina.
Would just the thing is the names get shortened anyway, so she'd end up with Bina or something, or Thumbs.
Little curtain climber.
Not yet, but she's got a wicked set of claws on her. Holy smoke!
Oh yeah, she's 13 weeks.
Yeah, she doesn't know how to use them yet.
Needle.
Yeah, she's getting needles. Yep. So we're gonna have a little bit of fun with this one. I have redrawn, rethought, That's the problem with this one. It's been painted 4 times. And each time I painted it, I hated it. Not the cow. The cow part was really cute. The background part just drove me crazy. I couldn't get a color palette that worked. And then whatever I put on it, it just, I didn't like it. So I decided to simplify. So instead of overthinking it, I just decided to simplify things a little bit. And I sort of sat back and did what I usually do, and that is investigate a little bit about the subject that I'm painting. And the Highland cow, I came to find out, was nearly extinct in the last century as far as domestic animal goes. It had nearly become extinct. It nearly disappeared from the earth. And they are extremely hardy. That's one of the reasons that they're so popular with farmers, especially in Canada and in northern Scotland. And now they can be found all over the world. They can find in parts of the United States, in Canada, all over the world. But because they are a very specific breed, they are protected by various Highland cow associations throughout the U.S. and around the world. So they set standards, breeding practices, etc., in order to protect the breed. And they are completely unique. They come in very specific colors. There's 2 types of Highland cows. One is called the West Islands Highland cow. They're usually black. Didn't know that. And they're usually smaller than the ones that we typically see, which is the gingers, these brown, golden brown to red colored cows with their shaggy hair. And those ones are the typical Highland cows, meaning that those are the ones that come from the Highland or the northern part of Scotland. I did have somebody point out that Falkirk is not in northern Scotland. It isn't. I knew that when I wrote it on there. Falkirk is actually in between Glasgow and Edinburgh, so it's in the central portion of Scotland. But Falkirk is actually a place where Highlanders lost a major battle, going way back when, fighting for the independence of Scotland. So I really...
Wallace.
Well, exactly. So I just thought that the name Falkirk would be a good one. Falkirk Farms worked really well, so that's why I went with it. And so that is what we're going to be painting today. I think it's a fun one, and I like the color palette in this. And again, I had to stop overthinking it. So Falkirk Farms it is. So if you guys are ready to get started with this week's fun project, so am I. So there he is. I think he's adorable. I really, this is the one portion of the design that I did not struggle with, was the cow. I think he's really, really cute. So we have our Highland cow. I decided to go with something a little cuter and a little less than realistic, because he's cute.
Oh, I was right.
What's that?
The Battle of Falkirk was led by William Wallace in 1298.
Uh-huh.
I didn't think I was right. I'm sorry.
Yes, you are right. So this guy, I just think is cute. So the color palette for him is really simple. I went with a little bit of almondine, which is this one. This is that new color that came out last year. So almondine, and we're using red spice or cinnamon drop. Either one will work. They're very close anyway. I'm using lush green, and we're using desert cactus, and we're using a little bit of sour apple, And then I just decided to mess with you all a little bit. We're using Berry Cobbler, Joyful Pink, Baby Pink, Dioxazine Purple. Can't forget the purple. Of course, we got our Plantation Pine.
You got more of those tags coming, right?
They're in. They're up on the website. I updated the site this morning.
They're saying they're sold out.
I check, but no. I will check very quickly. But unlikely, I just updated the website like half an hour ago. Highland tags. No, there's 19 in stock. Yep. Nope, we have 19 sets in stock, still in stock. So we are going to paint this little guy. I just think he's fun. And it adds to that whole series. I've got several more. I have a cat. I have a fox. I have a raccoon.
You've done a ship, a bee, a goat, a cow, a horse.
Yeah, I've done a bunch of them. And we're fully stocked on all of them.
A cockle-a-doodly-doo.
I just think
and
he's
a pupper.
cute.
Gotta have the pupper.
And we have a puppers, yes. So I decided, this is me not overthinking things. When I first designed this thing, the first couple of times, I went with an Argyle pattern in the background. And yes, Argyle is Scottish, it's not Irish. And again, it comes back to what you said about William Wallace. The Duke of Argyle.
Ah.
So this is what we're going to do. Since I didn't want to do a full-blown Argyle pattern, because when I did do it, it was really busy, I decided to just stick with a simple diamond pattern, which implies Argyle. So I'm going to tape that in place. I want it at least reasonably level. And I'm using a 1/2 inch. No, I'm not. I'm using a 5/8 inch stencil brush. Good grief.
Having a moment?
I'm having a moment. And a little bit of warm white for this background. So we're going to, with a light touch, this does not have to be fully opaque. In fact, it's going to work in our favor if it is not. So, okay, I got to take this off because this is interfering.
It's getting in your way.
Yep. This is interfering a little bit. There we go.
Keiko Yamada.
Hey, Keiko.
How about doing a panda bear?
Oh, I'd love to do a panda. That'd be fun.
It doesn't really suit the theme, though.
No. But it would be fun nonetheless.
Panda farms are illegal.
Panda farms. No, but you could do it with a World Health Organization theme.
Yeah?
You know? I don't know. That's a great idea.
Panda, yeah.
That's the fun thing about like this cattle tag. It doesn't even have to be a cattle tag. We could do a panda bear with a different shape altogether.
Sure.
You know?
Then you gotta do one with elephants.
Oh, I'd do that. I love elephants. Heffalumps. So, a little bit of
Sloth?
No.
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 Take forever.
Yeah, it would. Okay. Oh my God. That was good. What did you work quick today? Let me tell you. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to just flip this over, line it up, tape it down. Just want to make sure that we have, I want to have white diamonds everywhere. We are going to distress this, so they don't have to be fully opaque, and it'll be less work for you if they're not. So nice light touch. Just make sure that you get some good pattern everywhere.
What's the background color?
The background color, oh, that was smooth. Forgot that one. I used Indian turquoise, but any Bahama blue would work back there. Any nice light blue actually would work very well.
Coffee, yes.
One of those Wait, sorry, I had to wave my cup at him.
One of those
What do you call them? The sweet and creamies.
Ah, okay.
Thank you. Just one. So there we go. I'm still laughing about the sloth. That's hilarious. There. So we have nice diamond pattern. It's not heavy and it's not fully opaque. It's a little on the distressed side. I'm going to dry this real quick. And then we're going to distress this background and the edges in particular, because I kind of want this to have a worn appearance. So I'm just using my little sanding disc for this. You can use the sanding sponge. So I just want, I don't know if you can see this, I just want to wear through the paint a little and expose a little bit the wood surface beneath. So a little focus on the edge. Now the reason I do this is when I open up that paint and expose that wood, when I put the next color on, it darkens that wood and gives us a nice aged edge on there. It sort of acts like a stain. And I like the look. I like that worn and distressed appearance, but I don't necessarily want it to be super heavy. There, I think that's good. So once I have that done, I'm going to use that same sanding sponge and I'm going to distress the flat surface, which just means I'm going to wear through that white in a few places. And this way, it's not too bright, but we still have that pattern back there. And not only that, but it exposes a bit more of the surface underneath, just a little. So I'm just going to wipe that down, take off the dust. And we're ready for the next step. So I want to, again, I want to age the edge of this just a little. So you know I'm going to be using a little bit of asphaltum. And we need lots of water, lots of glaze in that brush for this. So right off the bat, you can see where that sanded edge has picked up more of that color. And it gives us a nice aged look right at the edge. Simple. I love this look. But I think you guys know that by now. That I like this aged appearance at the edges. I just don't want it to look super heavy, so that's why I use a float. So we have a softer edge on that. So I'm going to dry this real quick, and then we're going to put a light wash of thin dish faltum over everything. And that just sets the tone, gives us a nice tone over top of that blue. So we'll dry this. And I've got my little fugly brush. This is my little 3/4. And I've got a little bit of thin dash faltum left. And it is heavily thinned. I'm not using a ton of color in this, but lots of water. And I'm just going to brush it on. I go in one direction. I just find that that gives you a lot more control over it. And if you find that the color is too strong, don't be afraid to pick up some water. Rinse out the brush and pick up a little bit of water and thin it out a little. It just gives you a lot more control this way. Okay. So I'm going to dry this, and then it's ready to trace and transfer that line drawing on. Now, in case you didn't know, you probably do, but I'm going to tell you anyway. The thistle is the national flower of Scotland. It shows up in all sorts of things. So there we go. We have a nice soft surface. It's not, it shows up much bluer on camera than it actually is. It's a little more distressed, a little more aged in person, but it works. So I have my line drawing already traced on to this one. And so I'm going to show you how we're going to base coat this. So I'm using a little bit of desert cactus for the belly of these thistles. I wanted them to have a slightly different appearance than the stem and the greenery, just slightly. And so I went with this more blue tone, which is this little bit of desert cactus. I love this green, but it has its place. Anytime I want something a little less earthy and something I can build on. The other reason is that this is a very opaque green, and I wanted really good coverage for this part of this design. So a little bit of desert cactus. It's not perfect. You notice how it's got a ragged edge at the top. It's not a pretty little round thing that stops with a straight line. It's going to have that ragged edge. And this green, this desert cactus, works really well with blue, teals and things like that. So if you want really nice cooler green, this is a good one to start with. Okay. So this part is probably the most difficult part of painting this flower, is this little belly in here, because it has a texture. It's not perfectly smooth. It's more like a whole series of little tiny leaves over top of this. So I'll make sure that's good and dry. And then our next color is a little bit of plantation pine. And I'm going to grab my 3/8 angle. This is the water lily. I love these. I've been quite enamored with these water lily brushes. So with that plantation pine, we're going to put the shading on the right side. Oh, thank you. He made me coffee. He made me a sweet and creamy. So we're putting a float of that plantation pine on the right side of that belly, just like so. And then we're going to bring that same shading just across the bottom of the belly. And no, it's not going to be a very pretty float. That's okay. It doesn't have to be. We're just establishing something at this point. So I'm going to dry that, and then we're going to start creating a little bit of texture on the belly of this. And we're going to do that. So 3/8, we're going to do a chisel blend. So I'm going to pick up a little of that desert cactus, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of warm white, just a scooch. So desert cactus on the brush, and then just a little dot of warm white, and we're going to blend that on the palette as if we're going to float. So you end up with both of those colors. You're going to stand the brush up on its chisel edge like so. And you're just going to tap and move the brush like this. So it's going to create a little bit of texture on the edge. I know it's difficult to see. I'm going to exaggerate it a little bit so you can see. It's hard to make out because you're working tone on tone. So I picked up a little more white so you can see what I'm doing. So it's going to create sort of this little texture. And we're going to do that all the way on each one of these. This one is a little brighter than I would normally do it, but it's hard for you guys to see it on the camera, so I'll make it bright, that way it shows up. So I've got that first one in with a little bit of that lighter color. Do you see that texture? Now if I rinse out my brush and I pick up just a little bit of that same plantation pine, I'm going to do the same thing, just little bits in between. And I'm going to carry it over onto the other side, like so. So it creates a little bit of texture in there. When you look at the belly of a thistle, it's kind of got what looks like tiny little leaves overlapping on that portion of the flower. So I'm just going to tuck a bit more in like so. And we're not done with this. We're going to do it again with a little bit of, let's see. So now I'm going to grab a little bit of this, which is that sour apple. And I'm going to pick up a little of that. And I'm going to add a little highlight on the left side. So I know that it's a very bright green, but that's okay. It's just going to add a little bit of light, a little highlight to that left side. This is just a really easy way to add that texture to the belly. And it kind of goes over top of some of those lighter values that we just put in there. Here we go. So don't be afraid to tap them in. And if you find you're overworking it, or if you think you're overworking it, go and pick up a little more of your plantation pine and pop a little more of that in. Don't be afraid to tap a little more color in here and there. It's not going to hurt anything. Wonderful thing is it's paint. If you overdo it, you can redo it. So there is that texture that we were looking for. Whenever it starts to look a little meh, you just go back through your values. Oops, we picked up a... And it's a light touch. I'm not putting a ton of paint on here. But look at that nice texture we got. There we go. So we're still not done with this. We've got the texture we want. So I'm going to dry this. And then we're going to shade this. I'm going to take a little bit of asphaltum. I'm going to thin it out a little bit. I don't want this full strength. But this is going to tone and soften our centers just a little. So right over that first float, that first shading that you did, you're going to put a float of asphaltum. And it's going to give your center a nice shape. So we have the bellies done. Doesn't look like much, but it'll come along. So I'm going to dry that really well because I don't want it to move. And then I'm going to grab my liner brush. You can use a liner or small rigger. I think a small rigger will probably do the trick for this. And lush green is the color I am using. I'm using it for the stems and the leaves. I love this green. It comes into that same antique green that I love so much. And the lush is actually very close. So if you don't have lush green, you can use antique green. It'll work just fine. Now, when I did the centers, these bellies, I started with that desert cactus, which is a lighter value. I found that if I went with the lush green for that part, this got too dark. So I needed a lighter base. So I went with the desert cactus. I love that green. And it was perfect. I'm trying to get I don't see the chat. Oh, there you are. No, I was trying to get the chat there. We finally popped up. Okay. Donna. You know what, Donna, I've been having a hard time with my hands. And my husband went out this morning and bought me these 2 braces, and it was like instant relief. So I'm of the opinion that if it helps, do it. But the one on my right hand is just, it was in the way, so I took it off. Same with my compression glove. I found it was getting in my way this morning, so off it goes.
Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here.
it up. A little bit. I need a larger brush for these leaves. Where's my small round? Here we go.
Oh, somebody's picking up a pug puppy
Oh.
named Petunia.
Oh, yes. Linnell. Oh, we picked up our new baby yesterday. I still think we should get another one. So I have a little bit of lush green. Now, I don't worry too much on these larger leaves about whether or not they're fully opaque because we have a highlight color to go in. We have a couple of layers of shading. So full opacity isn't absolutely essential for this. But I like to get those leaves done right off the bat. So these ones are going to be super simple. Because it's just going to be a highlight and a shading and a little bit of detailing, and that's about it. They're a very simple serrated leaf, so we don't need to have a ton of stuff on them. So shading color, just to keep everything balanced, is going to be that plantation pine. And as always, I like to do the base of the leaf first. Just nice little float at the base of the leaf where it joins the stem. I do the same thing to all the leaves. Doesn't have to be a strong shading either. Just enough to change the value a little bit. So that first shading essentially just helps give us the illusion that the leaf is curved. So I'm going to dry it, and then we're going to put in that center vein. So nice little float down the center. In this case, the leaf is curving away to the right, so that curve is going to follow the same shape as the leaf. And I wanted the shadow on that side. Now on this one, it curves the other way, so it's going to be the opposite. There we go. So we have our center vein in. Now our highlight color, super simple. It's our sour apple, that bright yellow green. I do love this one. And it's just opaque enough that we can get nice highlights without looking too chalky. So, little highlight. On that outer edge, I'm following the shape of the leaf. Just put that little highlight at the outer edge. You can come back and brighten it, so don't feel you have to get it done in one shot. So, nice little float down the center vein right out to the point. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Now, this leaf is serrated, so I don't want to have a perfectly smooth float on there. I want it to have a little bit of edge to it. But it's not a super detailed leaf, so we don't need to overthink it. Just put a little highlight in. And as I said, you can come back and brighten it with another float if you find that it's not quite bright enough. So look at that. So we've got nice bright highlights there. There we go. I'm liking it. These little guys are super simple to paint.
How's the new baby? Does she have a name yet?
No, she does not. Not yet.
No name yet. I call her Thumbs.
He calls her Thumbs. She is awfully sweet, though.
She is. She's a little skittish.
Yep. But again, she'd been yanked out of her familiar home. It made her go for a car ride. She wasn't happy about that either. She's not going to be happy next week either. We're going to take her to the vet.
Well, just for shots.
Yeah, she's got to go get her shots. She needs, and we have to, when she's old enough, get her fixed.
You get her spayed. Usually at the 1 year mark. Yeah. That's best practice anyway.
Yeah. But she's still really little. And we don't really have to worry about it because, well, one, she's not going to be going outside. And two, Gizmo is already fixed. So we don't have to worry about any little accidents. But for her overall health, we want to have her fixed. But she's super cute.
She's going to get a cone of shame.
Cone of shame, yep.
Umbalina.
Well, they use the donuts now.
I've seen
those. The
yeah.
donuts are cute. So talking about puppers and kitties, we're at the $2,035 mark, 63 cents. We're 81.43% away from our goal. Or not away from, but towards our goal, I should say. It's the lights and ornaments and glitter fun now.
Yeah.
So, and because of that, I wanted to say thank you. You guys have been absolutely amazing taking part in this madness. Our local shelters, because of the high heats last week, they had a request for swimming pools.
For the puppers.
For the puppers. And I was about to go order some, and then they posted within a day. Okay, we're good. I guess they wanted 5 or 6. They got 21. So they didn't really need any help with that. I mean, we did drop off some cat food and whatnot for the kittens. So it's all good. So we have our highlights and everything in. So now we're going to do these calyx, which is these little bits of leaves that come off of the bottom of the thistle. Essentially, they're just the leaves that protect the bloom. So this one is super simple. We're going to use a round brush. I need a small one, I think. Like a number 2.
Sorry, not sorry. Looking forward to seeing the effects of the glitter fund.
Oh, so are we.
I'm not.
I'm just excited about the fact that we're going to be able to give our shelter a nice little present at a time when they really need it. So, So we're going to pick up a little bit of lush green. So I'm using a big rigger for this. I got a number 2 here. So we're going to use a little bit of lush green. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of plantation pine on that same dirty brush. And I'm going to tap them together so that the 2 colors meld. And I'm going to, oops, I've got too much in there. Okay. So I picked up a little bit of sour apple here. So I'm just putting a stroke of color in. Like so. I'm not doing too well with the liner thingy today. Oh, okay. I gotta switch brushes here because that's not working for me. Where's my liner? There we go. Okay, I gotta switch over to a liner brush because I'm having trouble with the bigger brush. So, okay. Apparently I'm having trouble with this one too. Good grief. What's going on? Okay, that one's not going to work. I'm going to go through every brush I own till I find one that works today.
That's usually how it works, isn't it?
Well, I'm not usually this useless, but there we go. Okay, I think I might have found the one I need. Good Lord. So I'm just going to stroke in those little leaves. I ended up using my long script liner to stroke this in. There we go. Let's try it again, Trace. Okay, now I've got it. Good grief. Fingers were not working today. Here we go. Okay, I'm a little happier with that than I was. So instead of a single stroke, I have to do it in a couple, but it will do the job. So essentially, I'm just using a loaded dirty brush and stroking in these little leaves. And then I'm picking up a little bit of either sour apple or a little bit of plantation pine to give them a little definition. So if I need them darker, I just use a little plantation pine. And if I need them lighter, then I use a little bit of the sour apple. Good heavens, there we go. So the reason I wanted a round or rigger or liner is so that they have, a nice long leaf, but also that they come to a bit of a point. There we go. It took a bit, but I got there. So I'm going to dry this, and then we're going to start working on the floral. The floral part of this is actually really simple. Hi, Nancy Rodriguez. I cannot get the chat today. There it is. Linda Griffith, I think we should bump up the glitter beard for Christmas in July.
No.
So for these florals, I'm going to be using that script again. We're going to start with a little bit of warm white for the bloom, the blossom, the business end of this thistle. And I'm using my...
Got somebody asking how you like the water lily brushes.
I love them. I have had them for quite some time and hadn't really done anything with them. And my pal Veronica at Dynasty was so generous. She sent me lots and lots and lots of brushes to work with. And so I thought, you know what? The only way I'm going to know how good this brush is if I actually use them the way I use brushes. So I have muckled onto a few sizes that I'm particularly fond of. And as it turned out, I just love them. They're a little softer than what we're used to, being acrylic painters. But they are tough. Holy smokes, are they ever tough. Very durable. Hold a ton of paint. That's one of the benefits of using a watercolor brush for acrylic, is that they hold oodles of paint. And they're easy to clean. They're very nicely balanced. They're comfortable to work with. And the price point is pretty reasonable. So, how do you complain? Oops. Okay. So, oh my goodness. A little bit more white than I planned, but that's okay. So we're going to, if you notice how I'm doing this, these petals sort of go out and up, out and up. So little strokes of warm white. If you don't have warm white, you can use titanium white. It'll work. It's just to give all these bright pinks that we're going to be working with, those pinks and purples, a little bit of a ground so that they stand out nicely. I always thought thistles were such a unique flower. I always looked at it as a weed, but it is quite pretty when you sit back and look at it. The colors are gorgeous. So I've got a little bit of warm white in there. It's kind of creepy when it's done in white. Looks a little weird, but it's just a base. So just follow those lines in the line drawing for the shape. I know it looks strange, but and trying to keep my hands away so you can see how these are shaped. I'm trying to keep my hand out of the shot so that you're able to see it.
You see Ishi?
Who?
Ishmael.
Oh my, he's pretty. Who's Ishi? Ishmael. Wait a minute. Ishmael.
Ishmael.
Biblical character.
Siberian Husky.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
Wow. So, we have nice little base in with these white lines. I'm going to pop a few more in on this upper one because it's looking a little flat. There we go. So, we've got Joyful Pink. I love this color. And we have Berry Cobbler. I love this one too. And Baby Pink. Baby Pink's not... Pink in general is not really my color. I seem to end up using it quite a bit, but I'm
Moby
not real.
Dick.
What's that?
Ishmael.
Ishmael. Oh, yes.
Moby
right.
Dick.
Right. But I think there is a biblical reference.
I think so too.
Yeah. But I can't remember what it is. So we're going to start with the Joyful Pink. Because we can and I like it. Joyful Pink.
There's an American Akita.
Okay. Where?
The Valley SPCA.
Really?
An American Akita. It's a shame that dog should be is even in there.
It's a shame that any animal is in there.
Agreed.
So I'm just overstroking all of that white with some Joyful Pink. That does not mean they have to go directly over top of the white that you've already put in, but we're just going to layer in all kinds of little fine lines, and you're still following that same shape. But don't feel that it has to be right on all of those lines that you initially did in white, because they don't. We just need to create layers and layers and layers of those wonderful lines, because we want a nice poofy thistle.
Poofy?
Poofy.
How about Snickerdoodle?
Snickerdoodle. It's a cookie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thought so.
But that's Snickerdoodle.
Oh, I'd call her Cookie. My heart breaks. I can't go to those shelters. My husband and my daughter went to the shelter yesterday to go look at kitties. And they didn't really have many animals up for adoption. And we were looking for a female, simply because we already have a male in-house. So, and we didn't necessarily want a kitten per se, but it needed to be a female. And they really didn't have too many cats that were ready for adoption. So they came home and thought, well, they'd left their name and whatnot. And then I don't know what made him think of it, but there's like a local buy and sell type thing, and there's always animals looking for homes on there. So he went on there for whatever reason, and a fellow in the next village over had cats and kittens that needed homes. So they went to have a look, and now we have a new kitty. Which is...
Never thought of a thistle being poofy?
Yeah, I know, I suppose not, but when you see the petals on them, they are quite fluffy.
And Teresa Casper's the hero of the day.
What did Terry do?
$50 donation.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Terry.
Want to see Renee glowing for the puppers.
Glowing in the dark. We love our puppers and our kitties, and so I've got my first layer in. So that's the joyful pink. So now I'm going to repeat that with a little bit of berry cobbler, which is a little bit darker because we need that extra texture in there. It also helps define the shape a bit more. And you can bring those points a little higher. Let them run out. I just think this is a fun flower to paint. And that little bit of purple, because the larger strokes are down at the bottom, it just gives it a little bit of shading and a little more definition. And the shapes, the flower themselves take on a little bit more solidity, I guess is a good word. They become a little more dense. I'll come down here. Don't need a ton of it, but we do need some of it. So I'm just trying to... So look at that. Thistles taking shape. And they'll take on a little more shape when we add the purple.
Devin says hi. Hi, Devin.
Here we go.
Oh, it's not a touchscreen. God.
You keep forgetting it's not a touchscreen?
Well, that one I'm sure is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Why is this one?
I don't know. There we go. So there is our berry cobbler. I keep losing the chat on here. There we go. Thank you, Nancy Rodriguez. Ishmael was the son of Abraham, who he had with Hagar because Sarah, his wife, who was barren.
Cool.
Nice. Thank you. I knew there was a biblical reference. I just couldn't remember what it was. What is this? Kathy Pruitt. I think you need to contact the local newspaper and have them do pics and a story about this fund and Renee's visit to the shelter all decked out.
No.
I'll call CNN.
Not CNN.
CBC, Global.
What? I saw a $10 donation there. Where did it go?
Sandra Jackson
Sandra
donated.
Jackson.
Thank you, Sandra. So we're going to deepen our little thistle here with a little float of Diox Purple. This is going to make the thistle look a little richer, a little full-bodied. It's going to give it a little more shape, and it's going to make the colors pop.
What brush are you using there?
I have a 1/2-inch water lily angled shader. So I'm going to put a little float of Diox Purple right here at the base where those colors join the belly. And it's going to look a little ragged for a bit. And that's all right. So nice little float in there. Look at how it makes those colors pop. Couldn't resist the sound effect. Oops. There we go. And then we have one last little step to really set off these flowers a little bit. We're going to use a little bit of baby pink.
Baby pink.
Baby pink. There we go. So the baby pink is going to go at the tips out here. So it's just a little comma stroke out here. And all it does is just gives this shape a little bit more definition. And it's just a few of them tucked in. So again, you don't overthink it. Just put them in there. So it just gives those flowers a little more shape. It kind of acts like a highlight a little bit.
Yes, a dandelion.
I think dandelions and thistles belong to the same family, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah? They're a weed?
Yeah. There we go. And we have thistles. Now, we can't just leave it like that. It's got to have some oomph here. So I'm going to use a little bit of warm white and a little bit of sour apple. I need a lot more sour apple. There we go. And I'm going to make just a little highlight. Better add a little. So I'm making just a lighter value green so that we can do this. I like to put little highlights. If you've been painting with me any length of time, you know I like little highlights on leaves. It just sort of helps accentuate that serrated edge a little bit. I think my green needs to be a little bit lighter.
Yeah, I don't know why the video quality is better on YouTube than it is on Facebook. That's Facebook doing their thing and YouTube doing theirs.
Yeah.
Don't know.
So I'm using that lighter value just to tuck in a few little highlights in places. So it's just a little line And we can do, a few little tiny dots here and there to brighten things.
Will you be getting the wood pieces for the pattern Plant Sunshine? Are you out of stock on them?
No, we've got lots of them.
Oh, yeah. Got lots of them.
We have them in stock. There we go. We have thistles. So now we have lettering.
Of course.
Of course. Gotta have lettering. I'm using a 0 rigger. I have it's brand spanking new. Look at that. Still has the new brush smell. Yeah. I just noticed that.
I just realized that it says WTF on there.
Yeah. We 3 friends. Me, Deb, and Sandy. We 3 friends. WTF. Multi-purpose. Now he gets it.
No, I got it. It's just we 3 friends.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the color I'm working with is warm white. And I'm using a number 0 rigger. It's a Dynasty Faux Squirrel. I love these. Riggers are my favorite brushes. I'm going to move some stuff out of the way here. And this lettering is pretty straightforward. The nice part is that we don't need to have absolutely perfect lettering because we're working on a distressed finish. It doesn't have to be fully opaque because we're going to distress it a little bit, but when it comes to lettering, the most important thing is that the lettering is straight and level, which means that vertically and horizontally, it's straight and it's level. And last week, I was working on a piece, and Karen Jones will attest to this. My lettering was going uphill, and I didn't see it until I had finished the piece. I'd finished it and sprayed it. Yes, I know. Yeah, perfection is to be avoided at all costs. Well, I managed it, believe you me.
Yes.
But that's the one thing when it comes to lettering, that unless it's intentionally crooked, meaning that it is designed to be crooked, it doesn't work. And it stands out like a sore thumb. Nothing to me will ruin a beautifully painted piece faster than if your lettering is crooked. Drives me crazy. And so I have been taking a few extra steps lately when it comes to lettering, so to make sure that they're straight. Last week's mess, literally, I couldn't believe it was crooked. Got it all painted too. Wasn't until I stood it up to photograph it that I realized, like, oh my God, my lettering is going uphill.
A little late to the party today. Had knee surgery replacement this past Wednesday and just woke up from my nap. Knee surgery.
Who was that?
Lillian Zick.
Zeich?
Sorry, Zick.
Is there anywhere in Canada that has rigger brushes? Currently, no, not as far as I know. I know that Country Bear carried the Dynasty Faux Squirrel. Unfortunately, their company was sold, and the new owners I have not had an opportunity to talk with. So, hopefully, I will do that soon.
You sent her the piece with the uphill lettering? Is that what you did?
I did.
So you didn't have to look at it?
I don't want to look at it.
Yeah, it sounds like my mom. I don't want to look at it. Send it to Karen. Since she pointed it out, she can have it.
Oh, no, she didn't point it out. I noticed it. I was like, oh, my God, it's so freaking crooked.
You, Tracy can even make weeds look beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I think.
Don't know how to feel about that comment.
Well, thistles, actually, I love the color of them. And they are unique.
You won't until your lawn's purple.
I love violets. We get lots of those.
They're a weed.
Yeah.
It's also our national provincial flower.
They're not a weed, they're a wildflower.
No, they are a weed.
According to your father, they're a weed.
They are a weed.
To me, they're a wildflower. Just like daisies. I love
Dandelion,
daisies.
dandelions is a wildflower.
Yes, it is. It's herbaceous. People don't like them, but they're highly beneficial.
Hang it crooked.
Oh, that would drive me nuts.
But if the lettering's crooked and you hang it crooked, would this lettering then be straight?
The lettering would be level. The picture would not. So, yeah. It's just one of those things. It happens. I mean, probably while I was tracing on the lettering, the paper may have shifted or any number of things. But it wasn't until I looked at it that I went, wait a minute. It is crooked, and it was really crooked. It wasn't a little bit crooked, it was really crooked.
Been working on technical issues with my computer. Hello from Spring, Texas.
Spring, Texas.
I bet it's summer, Texas now.
It's hot in Texas. It's just hot. I saw something the other day that said we are experiencing the hottest temperatures in 1,000 years. How do they know that?
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know.
You know what I saw and fascinated me last night?
What's that?
It was the Tasmanian tiger.
Really?
Yes. They are completely extinct.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a 20-minute video that had been digitized and colorified. And
Oh, okay. Yeah.
that was such a beautiful animal.
Yeah. There's actually a couple of animals that they're fascinating to me.
And it's
I
actually not a
heard it-
cat. It's a
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah. I saw a write-up the other day that really struck a chord.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the author said that if all the bees disappear, the world dies.
Yeah.
If all the birds disappear, the world dies.
Yeah.
If the flowers disappear, the world dies. But if all the humans in the world disappeared,
The
the
world
earth would
thrives.
flourish.
Yeah.
I thought, okay. Tells you how insignificant we are.
And the little bees, how significant they
They
are.
are. It was just an interesting statement.
Yeah.
So I'm almost done with this. And I did double check to make sure my lettering was not going uphill. Because that would just drive me insane. So, Falkirk Farms. Oh, hello.
Uh-oh.
I missed a spot. There we are. It's an F. We are wrecking the world today, really. Well, we've been wrecking it for millennia.
Yeah.
We're,
We're just speeding up the process, sadly.
just because we're overpopulated. And our government was celebrating the fact that our population had increased by 1 million people in a year. That's not a good thing. I don't think. There's already too many people on the planet. How does the expression go? We're a minute to midnight?
Yeah, I don't know what the actual doomsday clock is set at. But
Yeah, we're a minute to midnight. So I have a little bit of shading to do. We're going to put a nice little float at the bottom of our lettering with some asphaltum. And we're going to put a little shading to the right side of our letters.
90 seconds.
Or 90 seconds, that's what it is. Minute and a half to midnight.
Yeah.
Yep. So, nice little shadow to the right on the background. And it's a simple shadow, don't overthink it. Painters, we have a tendency to overthink all the time. It's just how we do things. So, nice little shadow to the right. I'm not coming right up against the letter either. I'm just sort of, as close as I can get without actually touching it. Let's put it that way.
Why Falkirk? Oh, that's it's part of the Scottish Highlands.
No, it's not. It's actually in Central Highland.
It's actually part of the Scottish Highlands. I just read the article.
It's in between Glasgow and Edinburgh.
Glasgow's part of the Scottish Highlands.
Okay. Glasgow is in the south of Scotland.
Yeah, but the Highlands is a...
Okay, not according to what I read, but... Falkirk is the scene of a battle between the Highlanders and the English. They were fighting for Scotland's independence from the British. Robert the Bruce. So there, I have a nice little shadow on the right. And now I'm going to put a little shadow at the base of every section of these letters. Just a little float of asphaltum. Just gives the letters a little more depth. And I let the shadow come about halfway. So halfway up the letters. There we go. Now we have a whole bunch of graphite lines showing. And we need to make those go bye-bye. So I'm going to make sure, before I do that, I'm going to make sure that I've got all my paint nice and dry so I'm not smudging anything around. And I'm using my Factus Black to remove graphite. I love these black erasers. I either use my Factus Black or my Tombow Black. Either one of those erasers. They are really gentle on the background. They don't hurt the paint. They don't polish anything. But they do remove graphite quite easily. Which is exactly what we want.
Okay, Glasgow is... It borders.
Yeah.
Based on the map they're given, the Highland boundary. Glasgow is immediately south of the Glasgow boundary, though still classified as part of the Highlands. What?
Okay. Well, Glasgow...
Edinburgh is
not Glasgow. my brain is not functioning today. Falkirk itself. There we go. So I got rid of my graphite lines. I do that now because I'm going to be doing something here that I'm going to spatter this. First with a little bit of asphaltum. And I thin it out quite a bit because I don't want this, great gobs of splatter on here, but I need a little bit of splatter. Get a little bit more liquid in there than what I've got. So I'm going to spatter this with a little bit of asphaltum first. And then we rinse that brush out, and I'm going to do it again with a little bit of warm white. And then we're going to use my gel pen. There we go. A little bit of warm white. Spatter.
Falkirk is south of Stirling.
Yep.
Stirling is part of the Highlands. Falkirk is not.
No.
It's like the border goes right between them.
Yep. No, I knew that Falkirk was not part of the Scottish Highlands. Stirling is. I knew that. I know that because my family comes from Glasgow, a place called Coatesbridge, or Coatbridge, I should say.
That is a weird boundary. Stirling is, but Dollar, which is even more north, is not.
Mm-hmm.
That is a weird boundary.
So I'm just using my gel pen to add a little more texture to the edges of the belly, like so. And to add a few little details right in here.
Kathy Rain's got a CT scan.
I had one of those. I've had a couple of them.
They're not fun.
Well, I just don't like the contrast. I'm allergic to it, so. Didn't know that.
Found out the hard way.
Didn't really notice it so much on the first one.
Oh, jeez.
Second one, I noticed it. Because in the second one, it got really bad, so. Give you that nifty little IV, which they usually remove as soon as your CT is done. But I ended up having another one because they had to give me some Benadryl and some other
twinkles. As in twinkle toes?
Twink. Aw, twink. No twink? I think twink would be cute. So the other thing I like doing is taking my gel pen, and again, on that right side, remember where I put the shadow on the right? I'm just going to use my gel pen just to put a fine line right on the edge of the white. All it's going to do is just lift this lettering off that lighter background a bit. Like so. So it just lets that lettering stand out a little bit more without a hard line. That's why I like the finer pen. I don't like hard lines. Hard lines are too much.
Tinkerbell.
Tink. Whatever name you give her, you got to remember that it's going to get shortened. So, whatever the short version is going to be. Funnily enough, though, with Soot, her name actually got elongated.
Yeah, the Sitters.
To Sooters. Soot. Miss my kitty. So.
Same with Dot.
Yep.
Turned into Miss Dot.
Miss Dot. Yep. So there we have our
call her toes.
Thumbs. So our thistle portion of this is finished. So we're going to set this one aside. Now we're going to paint us a cow.
Finally.
I love this. I love his face.
I'm going to minimize the...
He's got a sweet face. He's got such a sweet face.
I'm going to really zoom in for this because it's the cow.
It's the cow.
There we go.
I've got a little bit of almondine.
As long as she doesn't move it around too much.
Did you zoom in? Oh, good. Look at that. So we have eyeballs and we have a nose. And we're going to start with the nose. I'm going to base coat the nose with a little bit of almondine. You can use baby pink if you want to. I'm rather, you know what? I'm going to mix a little baby pink with the almondine. Just a little. You can use baby pink, almondine. I just didn't want a really pink nose, so here we go. It's going to get plenty pink by the time we're done with it. So there's his nose. And again, remember there's a little line there. Bring that up, but it doesn't have to be solid. So you can just bring it up like that a little bit. And then there's this little bit. I'm going to call this his chin. So this little chin under here. Oh, my brush is way wet. And that same color you're going to paint the inside of the ears. There we go. So the inside portion of the ears gets that same color. Like so. And then the horns as well. So this is that almondine. So this little guy is not going to take very long to paint. So we need a little bit of lamp black. I'm going to base coat those eyeballs with lamp black. Just make sure they're nice and round. So we have nice round eyeballs. And this needs to be really dry. I'm going to put his nostrils back in because I seem to have misplaced them. Make sure that this is good and dry. There we go. So I don't have paint getting smeared anywhere. So I'm going to grab my pencil and we're going to put in his nostrils. Now, I wanted to simplify this a little bit, so I'm just putting a little U shape like so. So those are his nostrils. Now we're going to start with the ears and the nose on this little guy, and I'm going to use a little bit of berry cobbler. I know this is a scary color because it's a darker magenta type tone, but this is going to give our nose that nice pink color. So a little float of berry cobbler, and you're going to do the same thing under the mouth right here. And I just went a little too heavy-handed there, but it's a brush. It's just a little bit of paint. There we go. So a little bit blush of that berry cobbler, and I'm going to do the same thing on the inside of the ears, like so. Now I thinned it out just a little bit so that you have control over it, so it's not full strength, because it is a strong color, but it's also nicely transparent, so you can do some fun stuff with it. And then inside that little curve that we did for the nose, those nostrils that we just drew back in, I'm going to put a little float right in there, just following that shape. So a little float, so we have nostrils. There we go. A little bit. And then I'm going to dry that real quick. I'm going to take my rigger, and we have to give our little guy a mouth. Right now he has a chin and he doesn't look happy. So I'm going to use a little bit of lamp black to give him a little bit of a mouth. So I'm just painting in a little curve in the mouth. So now we have a nice little mouth. So we have to create a few shadows so that our little cow is going to have lots of layers. Otherwise, he's just going to look flat with a whole bunch of hair. We need to give him some shape. So I'm going to use a little bit of lamp black. And we're going to float underneath those lines. See all of those little lines that we put in here? We're going to float underneath those, like that. Doesn't have to be neat and tidy. Don't worry about that. But those little shadows are going to make a world of difference when it comes time to start layering in all of that hair. So, remember, right under there. Just creating some shadows. Those layers are going to give us that depth that we need. So don't be shy. Don't be afraid to put that in there. It's not neat and tidy. It's not perfect. But it does give us a lot of depth when we start layering. And it can get quite dark, so don't panic if you think you've gotten a little heavy-handed. Just like that. So he's going to look a little scraggly for a bit, and that's all right. So he's looking a little scraggly. So I'm going to rinse out my brush, and then we're going to start toning a few things. So I've got a little bit of asphaltum on my brush. I am not using it full strength. And I'm going to tone the bridge of the nose. So I'm going over top of all of that berry cobbler with a little float of asphaltum. And I've thinned it out a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing underneath the lip, under the mouth. and inside the nose as well. Do the same thing on the ears. So now we still have that skin tone, but now we've got a little bit of shading. And while we have the asphaltum on the brush, we're going to come up to the horns. And we're going to put a nice float close to the head. Right there. And just sort of let it run out. So we need a nice shadow on the horns where it joins the head. And then just sort of let it run out. So it's darker here, and then we've got these lighter points out here. So I'm going to dry this. And then we're going to put a highlight on the tips of those antlers, those horns. And we're going to do the same thing to the mouth, the nose. So I've just thinned out a little bit of warm white. And we need a little highlight right along the bottom of the nostril. And I'm going to put a float of that warm white all along the bottom of the top of the mouth. Right there. We need a nice little highlight there. It's going to soften this a lot. Going to give our nose a nice little bit. A little highlight up here. I just want to brighten this spot right there. There we go. Got a nice little nostril. And then we're going to highlight the bottom of this lip here. Because this is set back, but we need a highlight right there.
Yeah. Moo-moo.
Yeah, we got a moo cow. And then that same warm white, we're going to come out to the tip of his horns. I want to put a nice bright highlight out here on the tip of his horns, just like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the bottom edge of the ear right here. Little highlight.
She uses different types of angle brushes.
Yeah. So in this case, I'm using a 3/8, that's just smaller. If you're more comfortable with an even smaller angle, there's 1/4 inch. If you find that this is too big. And then the 1/2 inch. These are the ones that I use the most often. I use a 3/8 and a 1/2 inch. Occasionally I'll go bigger. I very rarely go smaller than a 3/8. I'm not a little brush person.
And she uses a variety from black gold, faux squirrel to water lily. All from Dynasty.
Yep. So now we have eyeballs. And we need to make these eyeballs stand out. So I'm using thinned warm white.
Ooh, sorry to hang out to lift Boston. Oh, heading out to lift in Boston. What's lift? Oh, like Uber.
Yeah, heading out. Got a lift to Boston. LYFT. So I'm putting just a little highlight on the left side of those eyeballs, just in from the edge. They're not right on the edge of that black. I'm coming in a little bit. And I'm going to dry that. And then we're going to put a shading in here. And it's right here. So I'm going to put a little float of lamp black, just sort of a U shape. Right there. Now that U is just going to shape. You see what I mean? It just sets those eyes back a little bit. Then we're going to take, I've got my zero rigger for this, and a little bit of warm white. And if you have a look at this little guy, there's 3 dots of white on his eyeball right there. So I have one up here, which is the larger of the 3. Just a little down and to the left of it is a smaller dot. And then down here at the bottom of the eye is another one. Now I exaggerated it here so that you can, so it shows up on the camera a little clearer. And then on this one, again, I've got a dot there, one just down from it. And then I've got a third that is just slightly smaller and down from that. So they're tiny, but they make a difference.
Would those puffy pieces you put on your brushes help your hands at all?
I know what you mean. It's sort of like those gel things that people put on pencils. Yeah. I find they throw off the balance of the brush. Now that's a personal thing. I don't have so much a difficulty with the grip as I do with the dexterity. My hands get very stiff.
Where can I find the wood pieces for pattern plant sunshine?
Plant sunshine. They should be on the website.
What is it called?
It's a giant tag. It's like, hang on. I find it. Surface it. Okay. Da, 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 da.
Is there a search function? There is a search function. What is it called?
It's a 4.5 by 12 inch tag. I can't find it on here. It may not have been saved.
You got nothing with 4.5.
No, I know. I had just searched it.
You got 4.5 by 10.
That's not it.
Hmm.
No, it's a 4.5 by 12. It's a long one. Hang on. I can get it up there. There you go. They're up there now. It has the photo of the Plant Sunshine project. That's probably why I couldn't find it. So we have to start layering in some hairs. And I'm going to start with a little bit of thin asphaltum, even though I know he is covered in asphaltum. The reason is I want some fine lines to come off onto the, I keep wanting to call these antlers. I don't know why, bunny leaves. It's a thing. It's kind of like that Identi-pen. I know. Shocked him. Finally got the Identi-pen thing right.
Did you look at it?
No,
Oh, wow.
I didn't.
There it is.
Yep.
Yeah, 4.5 by 12 tack.
Yep. So I'm just putting in a few little strokes of asphaltum and just to soften a few things. And then we're going to work with 3 colors. We're going to work with yellow ochre. Where did my yellow ochre go? Yellow ochre. Kind of like that color. Kind of blah enough. Ouch.
What determines which brand of angle you use on any given piece?
On any given piece, it depends. Lately, I'm kind of obsessed with these because I've had them for so long and I never did anything with them. And then, you know, I needed to try and do something with them, and I've really enjoyed working with them. My personal favorites, all-time favorites, are these Dynasty Faux Squirrel. I use the riggers all the time. I'm a big fan of these. They have a very fat belly. They hold a ton of paint. When they're wet, they have a razor-sharp chisel edge. These are my all-time favorite brushes. These, I gotta tell you, are a very close second. The price point for these ones are a bit more expensive, the Faux Squirrel, than the Water Lily. But quite honestly, I have to say these 2 lines in particular tend to be my go-to these days.
And what type of brace are you wearing?
This is a tensor. It fits over my thumb, wraps around. It's comfortable, and then I use these copper-infused compression gloves. So we're going to start layering in some color. I'm working with a little bit of red spice because that's what I grabbed. And I've got some asphaltum and I have some almondine. And I love this red spice. Also love cinnamon stick, which is very close. And we're going to start layering in fine lines.
Oh, I know the answer to this question.
Oh, do you?
Yep. Why are the dots in each eye different? Well, light.
Light. Exactly. Because this one is going to be underneath some hair and it's blocked by the bridge of the nose, the light impacts at a higher level.
Yep.
So I'm just stroking in some of that red spice. And the thing I will remind you of is follow the shape of his face. So it comes down over the nose, goes around the nose. So I like to layer in so that we're not burying all of that shading. And they don't have to, those lines don't have to start at those layers. They have to overlap. And you need layers.
Oof.
What?
Lenal is saying she's got to take needles for her arthritis.
I believe she has rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh, so she's taking cortisone?
No, they don't give cortisone for rheumatoid.
No?
No. Probably methotrexate.
Aye.
They tried me on that. Nope.
I had to get cortisone for 2 weeks And then when they realized it ain't working because it wasn't doing what they thought it was going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people tolerate it well, others do not.
It's painful.
It is.
Cortisone is not fun.
I've been given steroids for this. I've been given all sorts of weird and wonderful things. But a lot of them I don't tolerate well. So once I've got a couple of layers of that cinnamon stick in, I pick up a little bit of that yellow ochre. And right now I'm kind of focusing on the bridge of the nose and those cheekbones. And surprisingly, it doesn't take a lot of layers to get that texture. So don't be afraid to use a dirty brush. So some of that cinnamon stick or that red spice, and then pick up a little of that yellow ochre.
Could you use a small rake brush?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're more comfortable with a rake, by all means. So the thing, just because I use a specific brush doesn't mean you have to. You can use whatever you're comfortable with.
Why would I use THC-free stuff?
THC-free stuff.
Yeah, it's a CBD THC-free cream.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I use a CBD as well. It does help. It doesn't work for everybody. I'm a firm believer that not everything is the magic cure-all. You know, what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another, so. I was using A535 for arthritis on my hands, but discovered that it created a new problem. It created like an ultra sensitive. It affected the nerves in my hands, so my hands became even more sensitive than they already were, which was not fun. So I have to limit how much I use that. So I've discovered, though, that sometimes just a little bit of heat, a little bit of warmth makes a world of difference for me. So I'll use a little bit of Tiger Balm and put my gloves on. But again, I can only do that every once in a while, not all the time.
Voltaren?
Voltaren I cannot take.
No.
Because it conflicts with some other medication, so.
Do they make a Voltaren cream?
Yes, Voltaren is a cream.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't change the fact that it's still the same drug, so if I use Voltaren, I can't use the other.
Gotcha.
So
He looks sad.
well, it's because I haven't got all his goodies in yet. So,
He looks like he's tearing up.
well, his eyes are all soft and sweet. Cows are very sweet. Cows are lovely. Now, the fun part about doing all these long hairs on this face is that I've got lots of hair in there. We've got lots of texture in there. I like that we've got, these long lines and overlapping lines and all these shadows. That's all fun. And it gives him lots of texture and layers. But what's really going to make the difference is when we start putting in more brighter lines. So if I take some of that that yellow ochre, just straight, and I put in some thicker lines, like so, I can bring some down over his eyes a little bit. And I like these brighter highlights. So those brighter lines just give his all that hair a bit more shape, a little more depth. Oh, goodness. And don't forget to take them. Oh my gosh. I've got a couple here that are just out of control. Got to take them so that they come out onto the horns a little bit. Eek. So he's taken on a bit more of a personality. A little bit out onto his ears. We're almost finished with this little guy.
No. What's for supper?
I have absolutely no idea. I have a feeling we're going to be taking care of a few leftovers tonight.
Yeah, I think I think they emptied some stuff that should have been emptied.
Yeah.
It started growing hair.
Well, I don't think it was that bad. Better not have been. So
There's some of that Low Country Boil left.
there is.
Mm.
Mm.
Is there some of that the pork chops too?
Yes.
Yes.
Boys, you're just firing on all cylinders right now, aren't you?
I wish.
You did. There we go. So
I'm fixing tacos. Mm.
So layers and layers and layers, I think, are the key to this little guy. I like having some of those hairs come down over his eyes a little bit. And now I just want to tuck in a few little brighter highlights in a few key spots. So right about here and under his, oops, a little bit right here.
Mm.
So I like that we have these little bright spots here and there that you can tuck in. Now, we have to accentuate a few little shadows, just a little bit, because they get a little buried when you're doing this with all of this line work. So we need to adjust a few of them. So I'm going to use a little bit of lamp black, and I'm going to come underneath the chin here just a little and put a nice little float right up against the chin so that we have a nice little shadow in there. And I want to come in and deepen the shadow under the eye. Just a little. But I'm going to follow that little strand of hair there so that we have a nice little pop of depth. And I'm going to strengthen that shadow where the ears are separated a little bit. Just there. And a little bit at the horns. I got that right this time around too. I still want to call them antlers.
They are horns.
They are horns. I keep calling them antlers. So I'm going to dry that. And we're going to add a little texture to his nose. And I'm going to put a final highlight on his horns.
Do you know the difference between horns and antlers?
No.
Antlers shed.
Oh, okay.
Horns do not.
Okay. All I know is we used to cut the horns off.
Yeah.
So I put a little bit warm white, just a little stroke on the antlers. And I'm going to use my gel pen. I'm just going to put a few freckles on his nose right here. Just for texture, it's just some dots. Just on the bridge of his nose. Like, how stinking cute is he? I love cows. I think my two favorites of all of these cattle tags, I love the milk one with the cow, with the moo cow, and this guy. I really like these two. So you can take your gel pen and add a few little black lines in there just for texture. I like it. I'm going to define his mouth a little bit with the pen. And there we go. So when it comes to mounting this little guy onto my tag, I just used a small piece of wood, a wooden button. So anything about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch thick will work just fine. Or if you don't want to, you can glue it directly onto the surface, and which is what I'm going to do with this one, I think, because I had a little piece here, but I can't find it now. I don't know where it went. A little piece of wood. It may have found its way elsewhere.
Excuse me.
So there we have. So I just kind of like the elevation of this. This one is just a little piece of wood, as you can see in there, glued onto the surface. In this case, I don't think we have to do that. I can't find my little piece of wood. I had it here, but I don't know where it went. It was in one of these.
Hey, you could just use one of those snowflakes.
You know what? I could.
Just
These are actually for another project, but that's okay. I've got a bunch of them. So I'm using just one of these little wooden snowflakes. I'm going to glue it onto the back of our little guy here. And it's about 1/8 of an inch thick, which is plenty for what we're doing. I put a little bit of gel glue on the back of this. Like I said, a little piece of scrap wood, or in this case, a little snowflake. And I think I put it in the wrong spot, but it's all good. I just like him to hover over the surface a little bit. So you can have him straight up and down. You can tilt his head if you want to. I'm just holding it in place. I'm using a little bit of Aleene's tacky glue. It'll take a little while for it to dry, but there we go.
Boom.
I like the fact that when it's elevated just slightly, it casts some interesting shadows on the piece. But it gives it a little more interest. And that is our Falkirk Farms Highland cow. Boop, boop. Fun piece. It was fun to paint, fun to design. I just think he's cute. And he's going to get the wheel ready. I really like this little guy. I think he's really cute. And fun. What should I do? Oh, there's my brace. Good grief. That was dignified. Fanny up in the air. Dropped my brace. Much easier to paint without it. I will say that.
I think I got it.
Got the wheel? So the giveaways today are courtesy of Tombow USA. Stencil Studio. We've got a wonderful little one of their stencil minis in there. They're fantastic. And a beautiful set of Dynasty Water Lily. It's a nice watercolor starter set. So it has a beautiful quill, a dagger striper, and a script liner in there. So you're going to love this. And those are courtesy of Dynasty Brush FM. And of course, there's always some other goodies in there because, well, we just like to make sure everybody gets goodies.
Don't care for the Walmart commercial.
No?
Nope.
What, is that a decent sale? No.
So, yeah, we got 202 names on there.
Right on.
Give it a good shuffle here. And let's spin it.
So it's really easy to get in on the giveaways every Saturday. All you have to do is participate. Make sure that you pop your name into the chat, say hi, ask questions, or hit the subscribe button or the follow button. You can follow my Facebook page or follow the Tracy Morrow live Facebook page. Stormy Hayed. Nice. And if your name is drawn, make sure that you go to the website at tracymoreau.net, click on the little speech bubble in the lower right-hand corner of the homepage, and send us your shipping information so that we can get your goodies out to you as soon as possible. We usually wait about 2 weeks, and if we don't have your shipping information within that time, then the goodies go back into the bin, and we'll give them away at a later date. We are doing a Christmas project next Saturday.
Doris Martin.
Right on. Doris, congratulations. So next Saturday, we're working on a new Christmas project. It is called, if I can remember correctly, Warm Winter Wishes.
Warm Winter Wishes.
Or Warm Holiday Wishes. There's going to be 2 versions of it, but we're going to paint one of them. So we have that, and the following week we have another teacup, one of the new shelf sitters coming up.
Jeez, you're busy.
I have been busy. I haven't really painted much, but I've been designing like crazy.
Just because you stop painting doesn't mean you stop creating.
No, that's true. That is very true. And we have one last one to give away.
Blech.
Yeah, there's no bad time. Emma Bleich.
Blech.
Emma Bleich.
Blech.
Emma won on one of the live classes, the membership classes the other day. Yeah.
That's right, too.
Yeah. So we have more goodies going out.
There we go.
So that's our 3 giveaways. Doris Martin, Emma Bleich, and Stormy Hayed.
Stormy.
So ladies, make sure that you go to the website, click on the little speech bubble, send us your shipping information so that we can get those out to you PDQ. Join us next Saturday. We're going to be painting a fun little piece called Warm Holiday Wishes. I think you're going to like this one. It's pretty simple. Going to be very colorful. Can promise you that. And the pattern will be up tomorrow, so you'll be able to download that one soonest. And I love this thistles. Linda, oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. It is fun. We enjoy doing this, and I really missed you guys last week. I got to make sure that my cow stays on straight. He keeps wanting to tip over.
No cow tipping.
No cow tipping? No, okay. Don't want to do that. I better. There. Now it's weighted.
It's weighted.
If you're not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit the big red button and hit the subscribe button, I should say. That's the red one. And turn on your bell notifications so that you get notified whenever we go live or whenever we post new video. And if you're not a member of my paid membership group, please consider it. We have an awful lot of fun. We do an awful lot of projects that are over and above what you usually see on the YouTube channel. So you have access to not only free patterns and free projects, but challenges, prizes, and a whole bunch of other things. And a free live class once a month that is included in your membership. So please consider it. We would love to welcome you.
And a pattern.
And well, the pattern is part of the live class. And every Saturday we go live here at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. So please come back and join us. We love having you. And don't be afraid to ask us questions in either of the chats. We do go back over them. And if you have a question that needs answering right away, you can use that little speech bubble on the website. We do check those daily, so we can get back to you within 24 hours. So I think that's it for us. Everybody, please stay safe. Make sure that you drink plenty of water. And if the temperatures are really high where you are, stay in out of the sun, watch the air quality, and look after yourselves because we love you. Please stay safe, and we'll see you again soon.
And bring in your dogs.
Bring in your dogs and your kitties.
Winter rules apply for dogs in the summer.
Yeah. Too hot.
If it's too cold for you to be outside, it's too cold for the dog to be outside. If it's too hot for the dog to be outside, it's too hot for you to be outside. I almost screwed it up, but I fixed it.
You did, but we get the point.
Yes.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Pet your dog.